That's it. Okay, thank you. All right, well, this is the July 15th, 2014 State Revolving Fund Loan Application Public Meeting. Thank you for everyone that's here. We're going to go through the Murfreesboro Water and Sewer Department plans on expanding our Sinking Creek plant and that timeline, the effect it's going to have on debt service, and ultimately on our rates. We'll also review some state revolving fund projects that are currently ongoing and how those enter into the equation as well. So we'll go ahead and get started. First off, this first slide shows in green those areas that are proposed as part of the Sinking Creek wastewater plant expansion. The Sinking Creek wastewater plant expansion is currently rated for 16 million gallons per day. This new expansion will allow for processing or releasing into the river 20 million gallons a day. When I say river, the West Fork Stones River. And in the wintertime, at its current mass limits, it will allow for 24 million gallons a day discharged into the West Fork Stones River. We do have an extensive reuse system that throughout the summer we are able to avoid discharging into the river, but we provide customers along the Gateway corridor, the Middle Tennessee Medical Center, Old Fork Golf Course, Siegel Soccer Complex, irrigation. The department also has approximately 600 acres of farms that we land apply our effluents. Highly treated effluent. It's cleaner than actually the water that in the river. So this is the plans. We're going to be adding a new carousel, which is for the microbiological treatment. We're going to have 2 final clarifiers. We're going to be adding some finishing filters, and we're going to be doing some modifications at our ultraviolet disinfection area. But this is a $36.5 million loan that we're going to go into more detail in the later slides. I do want to review some of the existing state revolving fund projects we've currently got loans for that are currently under construction. To the south, just right next to the Stones River Mall and the Old Fork Golf Course, we have what we're calling our Southwest Regional Pump Station. That is going to be actually replacing the Archimedes screw pump that's currently on the Old Fork Golf Course. This red line you see is the route that the force main is going to be taking. We are basically pumping it all the way up to the plant, so it's a direct pump to the Sinking Creek wastewater plant. And there it's going to be received by the third project that we have currently existing with state revolving fund. That's the Headworks. That is the Sinking Creek plant phase 4C project. So we'll talk about, these are the loan amounts. One thing I want to make sure we understand is that even though the loan is for a certain amount, it can almost be viewed as a line of credit. So the total loan amount may not be utilized if the projects don't require the full use of the loan. There are in the shaded gray parts of the table, that's the existing state revolving loan funds, and there are some principal forgiveness there. You can see that interest rate on a 20-year term is 1.1%. The emboldened rows there, the Sinking Creek plant expansion to 20 MGD phase 4D, that shows you the $36.5 million that we currently have estimated. And right now, state revolving fund estimates a 1.3% 20-year term. There's no principal forgiveness. Again, the $73.5 million is the total line of credit that we have through those 5 loans. The maximum debt ceiling with the principal forgiveness would therefore be $71.1 million. This next slide is going to show you where we think we're going to end up with as far as withdrawing from that line of credit, a total of about $58.33 million. The force main pumping station and headworks have already been bid, That is approximately, I think, around a 21.83 million. The 36.5 million, which we're really here talking about tonight for these two new loans, that's an estimate. So we're hoping to keep that project once it is bid later this fall. We hope that that will be not exceed that 36.5 million. This is what the cash flow looks like currently with those three projects I just mentioned, the existing projects, the pump station, force main, and headworks. When you add the pink, that is what we expect the cash flow to look like, or the drawdown on that line of credit for the process expansion at the Sinking Creek plant. So that's roughly the 58.3 million. It's probably a good point in time to discuss the schedule of the project. You can kind of see where that pink graph starts. That's somewhere around October, November of 2014, possibly could be pushed into January of 2015. And then when that cash flow ends, the plant expansion is looking at being completed around November of 2017, possibly January of 2018. So you're looking at roughly 3 years of a construction project once we begin to when the plant is substantially complete and online. This is really just a table that shows the total debt service. You can see we've categorized each column by the project, force main, pump station, headworks, and then the plant upgrade to the 24 million gallons per day. You can see that based on the interest rates that we showed you in that previous slide, we're looking at a maximum annual debt service of about 3.3 million to our current debt service. This is a graph that shows our existing debt service. You can see that in 2022 we have about a $2 million. Actually, that's more like about a $4 million decrease. That's paying off an existing loan outside of these state revolving loans we've been talking about. And you can kind of see by the year 2028, our existing debt service would be paid off. When you add the state revolving debt service, you can see that adds, takes it out to about 2036. So it adds about 8 years of new debt service, and you can see where that 3.3 million rides on top of the existing. When we look at, we've done cost of service studies in 2007, 2011, and 2013. Those cost of service studies show what our revenue requirements are to recover 100% of our expenses. As part of the recent 2013 cost of service study, we also conducted a 2018 Proforma where we incorporated this debt service and the cash flow and the outlays that we've shown you in those previous slides. Plus, we've added about 3% on operating expenses, which is historically what we've witnessed to be increases on chemicals, transportation, utilities, and so forth. So when you look at these step increases, by 2018, we're looking at about a $38.9 million annual revenue requirement, and that includes that new $3.3 million in debt service through these state revolving funds. So how do we plan to get there? Well, this is a rate design from fiscal year 14 through fiscal year 18. Actually, our current July 1 of 2014, we implemented a 50-cent increase on the minimum bill for the sanitary sewer, and that shows you our anticipated revenue generation of about $900,000 for this fiscal year. That's July 1 of 2014 through June 30th of 2015. Our debt coverage ratio will be around 1.72. The minimum debt coverage ratio is 1.2 per our financial management debt policies. So what we have programmed in order to make this revenue deficit up through 2018 is to implement a 50-cent minimum over FY16 through FY18. Those are just designed right now, and as each year comes around, we will definitely be looking at the details and whether or not that can be reduced or eliminated, or if it may have to be increased. Based on our current pro forma, though, we would end up at FY18 with a debt coverage ratio of 1.45, which is still above our minimum of 1.2. Looking at the affordability of that, currently you see the solid line. That's our current rate design for fiscal year 15. That shows you, if you, on the x-axis, if you use 0 gallons of water and sewer all the way up to roughly 12,000 gallons of water and sewer, what your average monthly bill would be. Currently, a customer's average monthly water and sewer bill is $56.93, so let's just say $57. That's, I think, 500 cubic feet of sewer and 600 cubic feet of drinking water. The purple dots above that line show what the housing, Housing and Urban Development Department indicates as a very low income for a 1-person through a 5-person family. And then that dollar, so you've got the per year, or the annual income, and then you've got what we've charted out is 4% of that. So $74.67 for 1 person, all the way up to $115.33 for 5-person. That's 4% of a very low income earner. And you can see that our current rate design, we hit the purple dot over there on that 5-person low income earner. But the encouraging thing is that our pro forma demonstrates we can stay underneath our affordability index. So we're staying in line with the 4% of earned income, and we're looking at adjusting our rate design to stay within that affordability index. So that is really everything, or all the ramifications, or all the ripple effects, I guess, that are going to come about as a result of these projects and getting these loans and taking on this annual debt service. So as always, the Water and Sewer Department is available for questions. You can contact me, Darren Gore, the director, at 615-890-0862. You can contact Doug Swan, our Assistant Director of Finance and Administration, at that same number, or you can contact Valerie Smith, who's our Assistant Director of Engineering and Compliance. Her number is 615-848-3200. We can all be accessed, our email addresses, first initial and last name. Mine is dgore@murfreesborotn.gov, dswan@murfreesborotn.gov, and vsmith@murfreesborotn.gov. We'll be happy to answer any questions you have, and we are going to be presenting this again at our July 29th Murfreesboro Water and Sewer Board meeting, and then we will be coming in the first or second week of August and presenting this same presentation to the City Council for adoption of some authorizing resolutions to allow us to go forward with these loans. So we do appreciate everyone being here, and we hope you have a good night, and give us a call if you need more information. Thank you.